Hi, Rebecca.
Hi, Steve.
It's good to share some time with you and some space with you.
Indeed.
So, why don't you tell folks your role with the university and how long you've been here at Miami?
Sure, thanks. So I'm Rebecca Young, and I'm director for the Office of Student Wellness. I've been at Miami for about 14 years in this role and oversee a fabulous staff of 5 full-time folks. We have 3 assistant directors that look at our priority areas, and then we have other folks that are working in the community and just supporting our staff.
Excellent. Well, we're going to get to those priority areas here in a minute, but I was first struck by you saying 5 full-time staff. Is that so 14 years ago when you started, what was your team? What did your team look like?
Oh my goodness. So we had 2 of us.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
So
So
we have
almost
grown.
tripled in size.
Yes. Yes.
And what do you think that's about?
So it really is about the evolving student needs that we have
Mm,
seen. So much has changed in higher ed and the college experience for students.
hmm,
And I think that parents could probably agree that it's different than when they went to college.
for sure.
And so we wanted to make sure that we had dedicated staff that really hone in on these very important priority areas when it comes to the health and wellness of students.
Excellent. And I think what a testament it is as well just to the commitment of the university to student wellness, that
I would
over 14 years, triple the size of the staff. That's amazing.
totally agree.
Yeah. Okay, so before we get into the priority areas though, student wellness. So I know there's some other departments on campus, right? There's student counseling, there's student health. How is student wellness different?
Oh, great question. So, student health looks at treating illness or chronic conditions. Something when your student isn't feeling well, they'll go to the health services. Same with student counseling. They do a lot of outreach on campus, but primarily they're going to provide interventions and therapy for students who need those extra support services. Wellness is very different. Wellness is for everyone. And our goal is to help your student be as healthy as possible and have the information and education they need to make decisions, not only today, but lifelong wellness choices.
That's great. So like are you like the rec center then? Are there treadmills and
Mhm.
bikes and stuff or
That is a very important part of wellness. And we have a fabulous rec center that has all of those things to meet your physical health needs.
yeah.
Wellness is a little bit more nuanced than that. So we look at things like substance use.
Hmm.
We look at other things that we would consider choices, lifestyle choices that folks
Hmm.
might want to make, but we want to make sure that they're making the decisions based on their values and based on all the information that they could have.
You alluded to substance use, and I'm wondering if that's one of the priority areas.
You hit the nail on the head.
Okay.
Yes, substance use definitely is a priority area. And we know that when students come to college, it is sometimes the first experience they've had in making decisions on their own.
Hmm.
And there is some temptation around experimenting with not only alcohol, but other substances.
Hmm.
So that is definitely a place where we want to make sure that we have dedicated expertise
Hmm.
providing programming and messaging for students so that they can make the choice that's right for them.
Excellent. And if you're okay with it, I'd love to sort of with each of the priority areas maybe go a level down with more detail. But before doing that, I just can't help it now. What are the other 2 areas?
Yes.
Yeah.
So sexual and interpersonal violence.
Okay.
So that looks a lot like sexual assault prevention and healthy relationships.
Okay.
And then the last is mental health promotion.
Hmm.
So, very different than student counseling, who's providing some intervention and therapy. Mental health promotion looks like self care or
Hmm.
exploring different modalities that really fill you with joy or help you manage day to day stress.
Okay, that is wonderful. And I'm wondering or I'm guessing that you probably work closely with student counseling service in relation to what you're teaching or the types of programs that you're offering.
We are so fortunate to have expertise across campus,
Hmm.
but our friends in student counseling really support us.
Hmm.
We want to make sure that what we are doing aligns with how they want to see their practice play out with students, and we want to be complementary to the services that they provide. And in doing that, we work very closely with student counseling, and we also work very closely with student health So many times, our friends in student health and student counseling will tell us different trends that they are seeing with students.
Mm.
And that allows us an opportunity to provide education or programming to get ahead of that trend.
Rebecca, I've noticed that the word prevention keeps coming up in some of your responses. And so I have my own idea about what that might mean, but as the expert, what does that mean to you? What exactly is prevention in on a college campus?
I love that. So, prevention actually is a field of study. And so, there are different types of strategies that we want to employ that will help prevent or mitigate harm that a student may experience due to some choices. And we have three main areas of strategies that we want to make sure that we're putting out for our students. One are universal strategies.
Hmm.
Universal strategies means everybody gets it and everybody can benefit from it. So, some examples of universal strategies would include some yoga or mindfulness, arts and crafts, things that we're doing to help students recognize that self care is important and that they can engage in that and play with different types of models of self care and see what works for them.
How interesting. And are there any with universal prevention strategies, are there any that the university requires? So it sounds like some of those examples were if a student wants to opt into the yoga, they can, but anything that the university requires from a universal preventative framework.
Yes.
Like what?
So, your student probably already has completed two online modules. When a first year student is coming to Miami, they will be required to take these courses. One is called Alcohol EDU for College. And that online module really explores substance use, not just alcohol, and gives your students some skills and time to reflect on what kinds of choices they want to make around substances. And the university is very committed to our students making good choices and having the education they need to make those choices around substance use. The second one is around sexual and interpersonal violence. It's called Sexual Assault Prevention for Undergraduates. And in that module, we explore what are healthy relationships, what are red flags in an unhealthy relationship. We talk about bystander intervention. How can a student step up when they see some of those red flags with their friends?
Hmm.
We also talk about consent and sexual relationships and giving students, again, a time to reflect on their values and what kind of choices they want to make while they're a college student at Miami.
Excellent. And if I was a parent and were to say to you, you know, Rebecca, I appreciate the approach, but my student doesn't drink. I don't foresee them drinking alcohol while they're at Miami. So why should they have to take, this course that you just mentioned?
Well, the course is actually tailored to the responses that a student gives.
No way.
So, if a student is a non drinker, they will have a different path in that module. And it will tell them a little bit about how do you support your friends who may be choosing to drink? How do you stay steadfast in your decision and in your values to not drink when your friends might be engaging in those behaviors? And it tells them, hey, you're actually part of the majority, that most
Mm.
students who come to college as a first year student, traditional student, are non drinkers.
Excellent. I love how specifically tailored it is to each student that might be taking it. That's
Yep.
fantastic. Okay, so that is the universal strategy
Yes.
to or universal. What is it?
Yeah, universal strategies. Yeah,
Strategy
in
to
prevention.
prevention.
Yeah.
What's the next strategy?
The next one is called selective strategies.
Okay.
Selective strategies are for those students who might be within a high risk group.
Hmm.
So, one of the things that we do is bystander intervention, and we do that with all of our new Greek members. So, we know that in the Greek community, there is so many opportunities for service and philanthropy, and we want to support our students who are Greek affiliated. And so, this gives them an opportunity to enhance those skills around bystander intervention so that they can intervene when they see a brother or sister in their fraternity or sorority who may need help.
Excellent. So selective then is basically just like what it sounds. You are selecting or focusing in on a particular group that's been identified as a group that may benefit from some additional specific types of training or education.
You got it.
Okay. Any other groups besides our fraternities and sororities? Are there any other selective groups, that you
Yes.
focus on?
Yeah, absolutely. So we also partner with our intercollegiate athletics.
Hmm.
And so all of our athletic teams are invited to attend an annual sexual and interpersonal violence program.
Hmm.
Most of the times we're looking at how do athletes engage on campus as a student leader, and what is that role as a student leader, and how can they be role models for other students when it comes to healthy relationships.
Excellent. So let's see. I'm going to quiz myself. So there's three strategies to prevention.
Hmm.
The first one is universal. The
Yes,
second one is selective.
that's right.
So far so good.
Hmm.
What's the third one?
Indicated.
Okay.
So, indicated is going to represent strategies that are almost intervention,
Hmm.
okay? Because the students that would be in an indicated intervention or strategy are those that are already exhibiting signs or symptoms that could be part of a diagnosis. For
Hmm.
example, substance use disorder. Um, how we find those students is usually through the conduct process.
Okay.
Yes. So if a student is in violation of the Miami Student Code of Conduct, they will be referred to the Office of Student Wellness for an educational program that will be a little deep dive into understanding the complexities of addiction and substance use.
So can I walk our parents through a scenario that might hit on each of these and then let me know if I got it or not?
Yes.
Okay, so scenario would be first year student is enrolling to Miami's campus. They're going to live in a residence hall. And at that point, the first year student will have completed the module, the alcohol EDU module. And that's the universal
That's
strategy.
right.
Okay. Now that student in January decides to rush a social fraternity.
Hmm.
And as a result of that, and perhaps that's an audience that the student wellness is selected, then that student will go through a selective prevention training, bystander intervention, or bystander step up training.
Hmm.
Okay. And so then that would be the next level.
Yeah.
And then the third level, and hopefully this wouldn't happen, but for some students it will. This student, let's say, um, receives some type of sanction or conduct charge through residence life for some decisions they made around alcohol, then that is that indicated level. Then where what happens in that situation with the indicated?
So you're absolutely right. All of those examples were perfect examples.
Okay.
And you asked what happens when they come. So we will ask them to sign up for one of the classes that we offer. They're typically on the evenings or on the weekends
Okay.
because we don't want to conflict with the academic schedule of the student.
Yeah.
And then they will go through an evidence based curricula that we have trained facilitators that will help that student through the experience of the class.
Okay. It sounds so comprehensive, and I appreciate how intentional and thoughtful the approach is. Um, so, prevention strategies, universal, um, selective, indicated, so much work is happening, it sounds like, with thousands of students. And I'm sitting here wondering, how in the world do you pull this off? How do you do it all?
Thanks. Well, we recruit only the experts in student college experiences,
Hmm.
and that is your student. So, your student is the only one who can have expertise in what it's like to be a student at Miami.
Hmm.
And so, we really capitalize on that and we recruit the creme de la creme of students to be peer health educators in the Office of Student Wellness. So, what does that mean? So they have a process where they will go through a 1 hour credit class to become nationally certified as a peer health educator. After that time, they are then trained in the three priority areas. So we talked about substance use, mental health promotion, and sexual interpersonal violence. They can then choose which track that they want to learn more about, and then they become specialized peer health educators so that they have the ability to do skill based training with their peers on those topics. That's very important to us because not only do we want our students to have education around these topics, We also need to make sure that they have lots of tools in their tool belt so that they can then enact the choices that they are trying to make around those three issues. So we do that by QPR, which is a question, persuade, refer program that is around suicide prevention. We also do that through bystander intervention. We use a national curriculum called Step Up. And we also look at the It's On Us national campaign that has many trainings for college campuses around sexual interpersonal violence.
I just love everything about this approach. The fact that you have students talking with their fellow students. I would imagine that students might be more apt or willing to receive that information and chew on it and think about it when it's coming from a peer. So,
You're absolutely right.
yeah.
And there's a number of research studies that have really looked at the efficacy of peer education.
Hmm.
And time again, it is shown that our students will listen to their peers and feel more comfortable in talking about those sensitive topics.
It's amazing. In any given semester, how many peer health educators would you say the Office of Student Wellness employs?
So we have three groups. We talked about the three priority areas. So we have the Hawks peer health educators who are looking a lot at harm reduction when it comes to substance use, but also general wellness topics like nutrition. In the other group, it's our mental health peer health educators. And they're really looking at the self care and mental health promotion, suicide prevention work. And then our third group is the It's On Us group, which looks at sexual interpersonal violence. And when you put those groups together, we have anywhere from 40 to 45 peer health educators
Wow.
in any given semester. So we have quite a team.
Yes, what a strong, powerful, effective team. And it sounds like they are doing incredible work and really help advance all of the priorities that the Office of Student Wellness has.
They're doing exceptional work and, in fact, have been nationally recognized for many of the programs that they are conducting here on campus. And so we're super proud of all their achievements.
So, Rebecca, we are in the Clinical Health Science and Wellness facility, the new facility that opened up, what, about a year and a half ago or
Yeah.
so? Okay, on Campus Avenue. And tell me what room we're in actually here. What is this space that we're
This space is called the Wellness Studio. The Wellness Studio is basically a playground for wellness.
in? Hmm.
We use this space so that students can come and play with wellness. And what that means is, you'll see here behind me, we have Play Doh, we have slime, we have fidget spinners, all kinds of tactile opportunities for students to kind of keep their hands busy and de stress. But we also have a plethora of programs in here. So maybe the tactile stuff doesn't work for a student to help them manage stress. We also have mindfulness. We have mindful movement that kind of ties into yoga. We have aromatherapy. We have puzzles. There's a lot of programming that not only our peer educators do or our full-time staff will do in this space, but we also reach out to our partners across campus and in the community. So we actually invite some of the practitioners, acupuncturists, massage therapists, to come into this space and offer their services to students for free.
That is amazing. And I was just reading earlier this morning this article around what the author was calling an epidemic of loneliness on college campuses.
Mhm.
And when I was reading that, I was thinking about a program that I believe was sponsored here at the Wellness Studio. And I was just overwhelmed with gratitude that this program was offered given this epidemic, according to that author. Can you share a little bit about what that program was?
Yes. So this was the second year that we offered speed friending. So at the beginning of the school year, as all the students return and folks are trying to find who's going to be their friend group, we tried to make that easier by offering a speed friending program in the Wellness Studio. It was wildly popular last year, so we were excited to bring it back this year and had students come in. And just as the format is for speed dating, speed friending is very similar in that you have quick prompts and you get to share something about yourself, learn something about someone else, and hopefully click and be friends.
That's wonderful. Um, so we have talked about the Office of Student Wellness is 5 full-time staff, and then there's 40 to 45 peer health educators at any given semester. Are there other ways that, oh, we also talked about the wellness studio. So
Mhm.
if a student wants to engage in programming or free experiential moments with wellness, any other ways that a student could get involved with your department?
Yes. So we have 4 affiliated student organizations. So, how is an affiliated student organization different from any other student organization?
I'm not sure.
I'm going to let you know.
Thank you.
So, an affiliated student organization means an office or department is sponsoring that student organization. That means we invest our expertise and our time as advisors and also financially support those student organizations. The 4 that we have is Active Minds, which is actually a national organization that we happen to have a chapter of here at Miami. We have Miami Hope, which also looks at mental health issues. We have the It's On Us, again, a national organization that has a chapter here at Miami. We also have a group called SAS, and that's Sexual Assault Survivor Support. And it is a community for survivors to be seen, be heard, and to advocate for their needs on campus.
That's great. So it ultimately sounds like any student perhaps could create meaning or find a source of connection through the Office of Student Wellness.
Those definitely are social ways. We also have academic ways that they can engage.
My goodness.
So we offer many internship opportunities. So if your student would like to explore internship opportunities with student wellness, we really invite them to talk with their advisors, talk with their faculty members about what that could look like. We work closely with some academic departments on campus, but we have had marketing interns, we've had accounting interns. So it's not just the health professions that we're looking for.
Well, I cannot thank you enough for the good work that you're doing, that your team is doing, that the peer health educators are doing. You are making a difference, and just forever grateful for that, Rebecca.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.